Our main mission is to promote OpenBIM, open standards, of course, building smart services and tools such as BSDD, IDS, MVD, and to try to create more awareness around the tool that IFC is.
Hey friends, welcome back to BIMvoice. Today I'm happy to have with me Stefan Constantinescu, who is the president of Building Smart Romania. Hello Stefan, how are you doing? I'm very happy to have you here.
Hello Petru, I'm very good, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was in the pipeline for a long time ago, so I'm happy that finally we get the chance to sit together and have a chat.
For me as well, a pleasure as always.
Cool, that's very cool to hear. Let's start with telling us a bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm an architect, and I'm also a co-founder and president at BIMtech NGO, BIMtech Association, which is just recently became also the Romanian Building Smart chapter. And I also founded an architecture office practice here in Bucharest, Romania. And I'm pretty enthusiastic about technology in general, and in particular in construction, because of course of my profession. And I also like to be efficient, so I guess all roads lead to BIM,
And not any type of BIM, but yeah, OpenBIM. Yeah, so you kind of said a bit about that, but maybe we can go a bit deeper into details here. How did you get involved with Building Smart, and what motivated you to take the role of the president for the Romanian chapter? But it's different here because, yeah, you founded this organization before, which became the Building Smart chapter. But yeah, let's see what you can manage to tell me regarding this.
Yeah, so from the start, we kind of created our bylaws pretty similar to Building Smart International ones. And the more we researched the subject, we understood that OpenBIM is the way to go. And of course, Building Smart International is main promoter of this concept. So it kind of came naturally. It wasn't like a big decision. I was already the president of the BIMtech Association, so that's how I became the local chapter leader. And regarding my passion for BIM, let's say it started a pretty long time ago in a pluridisciplinary project that we did in 2013-14 with a sustainable home built by us students. We were students at that point. And that's when I started to understand the advantages of working collaboratively and open standards. Of course, we being a lot of different professions, architects, engineers, we needed to collaborate. And I realized that tech helps us collaborate more easily and more transparently. So that's when it made like a click in my head. But afterwards, all I've been doing was just trying to figure out which use cases, BIM use cases, you can apply to different projects, and which work and which maybe don't work so well. So it's been an ongoing learning process, understanding it from a practical standpoint, not just a theoretical standpoint.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yes. What can you tell us about actually the Building Smart Romania? What is its mission and objectives?
So our main mission is to promote OpenBIM, open standards, of course, building smart services and tools such as BSDD, IDS, MVD, and to try to create more awareness around the tool that IFC is, and try to create a bridge between the private sector and the public one, which is just beginning to understand more about standards world, the OpenBIM world, and try to accelerate as much as possible the implementation nationwide. And of course, we're doing a lot of different things to accomplish this. So first of all, we've been doing the BIMCon conference, which you can see above my head. That was last year's event. So this year is going to be the 5th year we're doing it. So this is basically where we, just as you do, find really quality experts and people that you can learn stuff from and convince them to come to Romania and tell us about their story, their know-how, share the know-how to the local market. And we've been doing this pretty successfully, I can say, and you can probably confirm from last year, since you've also been here, and you're also a moderator and a presenter on the stage of BIMCon.
Thank you for giving me the chance.
My pleasure, and I think it's also a natural thing for you. It's what you do very well. And yeah, so we create awareness through BIMCon, so through annual conferences. We've been also doing courses at the Architects Chamber of Bucharest, BIM and OpenBIM classes for architects. We've been translating ISO standards in a technical committee here at the National Association of Standardization. Inside the committee that we actually initiated, and it follows TC 442, which is the BIM committee where the BIM standards are developed at European level in CETELEC. And we also, from the pilot projects that we are doing, we kind of see all the projects that we get involved in as pilot projects where we start to understand and learn stuff. We create some reports which analyzes at the end of the construction period, analyzes how BIM was implemented throughout the whole design and build process, and what things, let's say, caused issues or delays or over budget situations, and try to learn from them. And then we just share them on our website on bimtech.ro, and you can find there a lot of also other pretty good resources. So let's say guides that we translated in Romanian. You can find a lot of resources on our webpage. So this is what we've been doing. And recently, of course, through Building Smart International, becoming a local chapter, we are launching the professional certification program, PCERT. It's been known, and we are in the beginning, but we already have a few training centers that we are in discussions and exchanging documents as we speak. So yeah, things are looking pretty well, and we're just getting started. 7 years into it. I think it's almost 7 years. We started in 2016, NGO.
It's a big change and it takes time. We like it or not, things take time in our industry, especially. There are many reasons for that. It's not something that like everyone is fault. It's the nature of the beast. Like we have projects that go over like 10 years or 5 years. It's not so easy to be agile under one project, and yeah, it takes time. I'm used to that.
I agree.
Yeah. What would you say are the main challenges and opportunities of adopting and making more popular building information modeling in Romania?
Wow, so that's a pretty big subject. So where can I start? With the challenges, right? What are the challenges? Okay, I guess the main challenges are regarding the education. So the lack of know-how, the lack of understanding inside the construction sector. Basically, architecture students and engineer students right now don't really have any very well created curricula inside universities that teaches them BIM concepts and open BIM concepts and standards. And you can find some classes that are teaching software, BIM authoring software, and how to use it, but not really from the concept standpoint and broader understanding. So I would say this is the main problem. If we could just get professional certifications inside the university as quickly as possible, I think that would just become a huge leap for our country. Secondly, the professionals, let's say more experienced professionals, of course, but this is not just in Romania, you usually have a resistance to change. And especially if it's something a little bit more complex, a bit of a scare or fright of change. Of course, that's again tackled with education, with classes, with professional certifications. And then you have probably the third main issue is the government, of course, itself doesn't have a very good understanding. And even though in the last, let's say, 2 years, we've seen initiatives regarding BIM mandate, which is actually not really a mandate, but it's just like a kind of a roadmap. It's starting to roll. The ball is starting to roll, but it's not as fast as we would have hoped for. And working mainly in the private sector, you expect things to move a lot quicker, but they don't really. So that's the third issue regarding BIM. You could also find other consequential motives that it's difficult, but I think these are the main ones.
The main ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, regarding the last point you made about politicians, the mandate and so on, now the construction industry, it's already slow, right? When you combine construction with political, just think that those people know most of them will be there just few years, right? So it's and this is valid everywhere, not only in Romania. So it's very difficult to find actually very motivated people willing to focus exactly on this topic, which is definitely not a priority from any point of view. I would say there are more pressing issues in Romania, but I also need to say that I'm happy that at least it's something in discussions regarding this. And I'm grateful for that. I hope that somehow that will roll over, will become like, we will have a snowball effect and things will improve. Yeah, like I don't hope, I know it will, because you will ensure that Building Smart will do a great job in Romania and promote and help regarding this.
Yeah, I'm also really happy that we found you and people such as you that help us move things forward. So
thank you.
And I guess that's what our brand is. Our brand is enthusiastic people around tech in construction and about sustainability, and that's what we want to show. And usually what we've found is the BIM scarecrow is not gonna really work here inside this culture. Most likely good practice examples and success stories usually have a bigger impact and can attract, because the people that are motivated just by a threat, let's say, I don't know, the European Union in a few years are gonna get a directive rolling which states that building permits should only be issued if you deliver an IFC model, let's say, something like this, such as the Finnish are doing. It's the people that are easily scared are not the ones that are gonna start learning BIM, and they're gonna start to search for ways to, find a way to don't do
shortcuts.
Yeah, exactly, to bypass that. So we're not trying to address necessarily those guys. We're trying to attract the people that understand the vision and the value in what we promote, and those are the guys that are gonna push things even further, accelerate. So that's what I've seen throughout the years.
Yeah, that makes sense. You kind of covered this a little bit. You mentioned that you hope for universities or for academia institutions to implement certifications program from Building Smart. Would you mind tell me more about that? What does that exactly mean?
Basically, the professional certification program is accelerated by training centers. So local training centers become certified by us, and they start to train professionals and certify them at a certain level. In this case, it's the first level, which is called foundation. The main actors in this area are the existing training centers that need to have some years of experience in doing this and qualify to be able to do this, and also universities, because of course they have the whole infrastructure already built. The problem with universities here at least is the funding part, because there are of course costs that come with this specific training, and the examination and the certification. So all of the universities are, of course, don't manage very well from a financial standpoint, which we know is true. So probably the biggest hurdle will be just find financing for this program, and the way to attract students, maybe through like a scholarship program or something like that, in a way that we can certify students that are actually interested in the subject and don't see it just like I need to get this done, some credits and stuff like that. So I guess that's the biggest, most difficult thing that we need to tackle. And hopefully we'll find some openness from academia world, because it's if you study the program a little bit, it's very well thought out and built. And from my standpoint, I see it like the education of the future. The way maybe classes and know-how is shared at a global scale really quickly. It's a very good example of that, because it's been through a lot of revisions. And being an international organization, they have a lot of markets where they test things and understand things. So from my standpoint, it's like the academia of the future if we're talking about education and construction. So I really hope, academia leaders understand that and see it as an opportunity. You asked me about opportunities. See it as an opportunity to find a leaner, maybe, I don't know if it's better, not necessarily, but a more actual, more contemporary way of learning and teaching. I think that's the biggest impact that we can make when we start from the beginning, from students. If you can get as many students certified and learning this stuff, the impact is, I think, a lot greater. As long as they stay in our country and actually activate here, do their activity here, not just do this certification and hopefully they're gonna get hired by a big company, big multinational or something like that, abroad.
Or move abroad like me, like I did 10 years ago.
But still, you came back, for example, last year at BIMCon, you still activate, you're still an active person inside, even though you're now in Norway. So just not move there and forget everything about Romania, and maybe think about, okay, I'm in a better position now. How can I help people that are still back home? A little bit, not much, but a little bit.
Yes. I always think if I can help not only Romania, everyone, but yeah, of course, Romania is the place where I've been born and grown. So yeah, it has a special place in my heart. Yeah, so let's spice this conversation a little bit, and let me ask you, how do you envision the future of the construction industry in Romania, and how BIM and building smart standards can contribute to this vision?
Well, in 5 years time frame, in 10 years, in how many years?
You choose.
I think we're still in like an awareness and knowing stage, early stage, because even though this roadmap is not actually a mandate, it doesn't say exactly when public projects are going to become mandated to be using BIM. It still creates some waves inside the sector. So it still has a good impact, because now at least people are hearing about it, and that's the stage where we are actually in. From the standpoint of how fast it's going to move the adoption, I guess it not only depends on us, it also depends on key actors that are here in different positions, in public and private, and how we can kind of manage to get them all together on the same page. And time is finite, and we don't have all the resources that, let's say, bigger companies have. But hopefully we can get enough key players, say big construction companies, that can support us in our activity to be able to track the main stakeholders in the public sector and find like common interests, because you always need to find common interests, and as long as we are able to find them, I'm sure we're gonna be able to get them in the same work group, or in the same room, or in the same domain, as it's going to be called. Recently, there has been a discussion inside the chapter leaders monthly conference about the name of rooms, building smart rooms, which originated from war rooms. It meant we need to create a very specific task group that's going to tackle an issue and do it fast. So that was like a war in the beginning of Building Smart International, where it was a smaller organization. But now rooms seem kind of like four walls, a box, something that is kind of closed, And they're trying to think of a different term, which domain rose to the surface. It's gonna be probably called something in that area. So create domains where public actors and key private players can talk to each other in a non-contractual way, because they usually meet when they're working on a project, right? Public. Yeah. So in a more non-contractual way, and create a way to understand the needs of the public sector and also the needs of the private sector and how they can come together. So if we manage to do this efficiently, I think we can accelerate in the next 5 years. We can take back the delay that we're in,
Yeah, I think it's definitely never is too late, right? But I think this is actually a very good place to be in. And I think there is a huge opportunity. If we execute well on it, can end up very, very well. We can catch up very, very quickly. So I'm really hoping for that, and yeah, rooting for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. How can interested individuals and organizations become members of Building Smart Romania, and what benefits do they gain from joining?
It's pretty simple. They just have to go on our website and complete the form and basically request to become members. And after that, we create like a committee for approval. Usually it's just a formality. We approve most of people that are interested, either professionals or companies. And yeah, so they become members of BIMtech/Building Smart Romania, because basically BIMtech is the home of Building Smart Romania, of the local chapter. And we have members that are in the beginning of their OpenBIM journey and they just want to learn stuff. We have members that are more advanced and maybe want to do networking. We have members that just want to support us and help us grow the awareness. And yeah, the benefits are basically they're in a communication loop with us. We have a Slack channel that's pretty active, and we have WhatsApp groups on different topics where they can join and usually, talk enthusiastic BIM related stuff if they want to be like in a community. So, for example, one of our members recently sent us a video recording of a highway that they're doing with OpenBIM standards and with IFC, and they're working on it, and they're also using it. The models are used to do the construction work, and he's sending us these videos and look at what I've been working on, and what do you think about the soundtrack? And then we start talking about that song is pretty dramatic, maybe a little less dramatic than so. This kind of enthusiastic stuff, community oriented. But then you have the annual conferences, and you have you get a discount for accessing different things that we're doing, including the conference, and getting in touch with the news from Building Smart International, because we not only like to travel and go to these conferences, but we're kind of required to do this by becoming a local chapter. So we're in the loop. We learn, we have news, we have hot stuff, hot information that we get from abroad, from the international community. So I guess that's also some of the companies are value that a lot, being having information. So, for example, in the last Standard Summit that we attended in Rome last month, there was a decision to create a European forum, European Union countries, and basically try to create like a group, a forum that is also a consultant to the European Committee, but can also work on the projects that the European Committee are launching, such as digital building permits, such as digital logbook, and other directives that they're working on. So Building Smart is a consultant for them, and we actually had representatives from the European Commission at the summit. And you can find out the latest, if something's working on and something's cooking. I think this is the best way to find out about it, at least in this moment in our country.
Yeah, that sounds very good. I think we could talk like hours. I still have so many things I would like to ask you, but at the same time, I don't want to make this too long, and maybe I will invite you again in the future to continue this. It was a real nice pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for coming in.
For me as well.
And yeah, before we say goodbye, how can people reach out to you if they would like to ask you anything?
So we have bimtech.ro, which is our initial website. Now we have buildingsmartromania.org. You can find me on LinkedIn, Stefan Constantinescu. You can find me on Facebook. We have a BIMtech page and a Building Smart LinkedIn page. So we're kind of everywhere. I think we also have, I'm sure we have an Instagram page. TikTok, we didn't still create, but we're looking into that. So we're pretty active on social media. So I'm sure you can find us if you Google us or ChatGPT us.
Thank you very much, Stefan.
Thank you, Petru. My pleasure, as always.